eFootball 2025, or version 4, is often dubbed the physical update. With the update, Konami made improvements to physical contact stats, which significantly impacted the game and how we level our players. But what exactly does physical contact do, and how does it affect the game? In this video, we will test the impact of physical contact, as well as other stats that may come into play. I have come up with a range of different physical contact scenarios for these tests. I'll be using the GOAT, Anthony, whom I've given a range of physical contact stat numbers to see how they interact differently. One of the most important mechanics that is impacted by the change of physical contact is how well a player can shield the ball, especially since shielding is done automatically in this update. Now let's test some stationary shield animations. First of all, we have Anthony with 99 physical contact and balance. And now balance dropped down to 40. Comparing the two together, there's no noticeable difference between how long it takes for the shield to be broken. The only difference is on the left side, when Anthony has 99 balance, he was able to recover quicker and resume the shielding position. Now comparing the other extreme. Higher balance doesn't improve stationary shielding. Now let's compare a few more realistic scenarios. Before we compare tight dribbling, I need to explain how one dispossesses a ball carrier in a non-stationary situation. In order to dispossess someone on the ball, you need to gain an advantage in shoulder-to-shoulder positions or side-on positions. What I mean is, obviously you can't win the ball from behind, so you need to go round the shoulder and try to get closer to the ball. If you hold X on PlayStation or A on Xbox, the player will automatically move off to the side. So with that in mind, let's compare some tight dribbling animations. In this test, I'll be trying my best to keep the ball with just using the left stick and no sprinting. When a player has higher physical contact, it is very difficult for a defender to get in front of the shoulder and try to dispossess the ball. Once again, balance is dropped to 40. And there's still no noticeable difference. Now with 40 physical contact, the difference is very obvious. Notice how Maguire managed to momentarily drag Anthony away from the ball. And looking at this clip, it was very easy for Maguire to get in front of Anthony's shoulder and eventually dispossess him. Dropping balance to 40, again, there's no noticeable difference. Now I want to compare these two clips together. Now if we focus on the clip on the right, you can see Anthony actually tried to push Maguire away with his arm, but was ultimately unsuccessful. Now if we have a look at the clip on the left, even though from this frame, Maguire is slightly in front of Anthony's shoulder, but he actually shifted his whole body to his left to stop Maguire from getting in front. Another scenario is when the defender uses his arms to drag a player behind. Notice how 99 physical contact was only dragged for a split second. With sprint dribbling, obviously you're more likely to lose the ball, since the ball is often kicked further away from the player. With higher physical contact, the dribbler is more likely to use his arm to hold the defender back and stop him from getting in front of his shoulders. Have a look at this clip where Maguire has occasionally got close to the ball, but Antony managed to use his arm to hold him back. Again, when physical contact is lower, the difference is night and day. Here you can see Antony actually tried to nudge Maguire back, but he was unsuccessful. Again, balance doesn't have much of an impact. Here you can see Antony tried to use his arm to push Maguire away, but it wasn't very effective. So in conclusion, higher physical contact can help a player shield the ball better. I think that was kind of obvious anyway. But higher physical contact is less likely to concede a shoulder-to-shoulder position. Higher physical contact is more likely to readjust a player's body position to wedge himself between the defender and the ball. Higher physical contact will often utilize the hand-off animation to fend off a nearby player. The bigger the difference in physical contact is, the more effective this will be. Higher physical contact will also reduce the chance and penalty of being pulled by a defender. I use the phrase more likely here quite a lot, and I think this is something very important to take away. Physical contact stat isn't as black and white as other stats like speed and acceleration, whereby if someone has higher speed and or acceleration, then they will outright be faster. I find physical contact to be a bit more contextual. Factors such as the angle of the challenge, the position of the challenge can affect one's ability to win in a physical combat. Hence, you cannot say a player with higher physical contact will always win in physical situations, or will never be bullied off the ball. The key point is that it will more likely to be the case. Just like how if you give a player 100 finishing, that still doesn't guarantee every shot you take will be a goal. Or conversely, if a player has 60 finishing, then he will never be able to score. But the player with 100 finishing will be more likely to score, and score more as well. When off the ball, physical contact can help a player get in a better position to receive the through ball, or it can prevent another player from getting in front of you. Have a look at this example. Even though Bale has faster speed and technically started the run earlier than Nestor's higher physical contact stat prevented Bale from getting in front of him. Higher physical contact can also help in aerial situations. While obviously physical contact doesn't increase jump height or heading ability, it can help a player get into a better position to challenge for the header, or at least it can hinder your opponent's jump height. Amadeus' fine stat comparing two players of the same height, but one with 99 physical contact and the other with 80 physical contact. The player with 99 physical contact won 15% more headers. In defensive situations, physical contact can help you get in front of the dribbler in order to dispossess him. It can also delay a move or a command like passing or shooting. Does player ID play a part in physical duels at all? In my limited testing, I don't find there's a massive difference. Since the player editor doesn't allow me to edit physical values, I used Dan Burn, who has higher torso collision and arm length than Maguire. You might say that judging by the clip on the right that Dan Burn is grabbing Antony's arm a lot more, but looking at another clip, Dan Burn doesn't grab Antony's arm at all, so this could just be random or situational. My own interpretation of player ID on physical contact is that player ID doesn't supplement low physical contact, but if a player has long arms and high physical contact, for example, it can increase his range of his grabbing animation. Once the arms have reached another player, then the physical contact will come into play. Or if you are on the ball, then longer arms can increase the range of your arms, pushing your opponents away. So I think we can conclude that balance does not help you shield the ball better. Rather, balance helps you recover after losing a physical duel. Higher balance will increase the chance of a player dodging a tackle, but only when the tackle doesn't reach the ball. This is why sometimes you see players doing this little skip animation. That is due to high balance. The benefit of this is obviously it allows a player to fend off a tackle and continue a run or dribble. But the downside of this skip animation is that it can stop a player's momentum and allow another defender to come in and snatch the ball. Higher balance also determines how well you can shoot or pass during contact. In other words, how well a player can stay on his feet and maintain balance to kick the ball while being physically pressured. A player with low balance could produce a poor quality shot or pass when being physically pressured. A player with lower balance is also more likely to fall down in these situations. Reddit user Void Drive also finds that higher balance allows you to execute fake shots and turn faster. Lastly, we'll move on to shoulder charge. Shoulder charge is a controversial topic because many people think whether shoulder charge gets called to a foul or not is completely random, but I'll explain why this might not be the case. First of all, remember how we discussed side-on shoulder-to-shoulder position. When a player performs a shoulder charge from the sides, it's almost never a foul. To be precise, this is from slightly behind the shoulder to anything in front. Physical contact stat has no effect on side-on shoulder charge. I have tested from 99 physical contact to 40 physical contact. Almost all of them have 90% or above success rate. Yes, that means even a player with 40 physical contact can successfully perform a side-on shoulder charge against a player with 99 physical contact. Perhaps this will change in the future, but as of now this is the case. Second of all, when a shoulder charge is performed directly behind a player, it is almost always a foul. Again, physical contact stat has little to no impact on this. The last area of shoulder charge I want to cover is what I would like to call the suboptimal position. This is when a shoulder charge is performed neither directly behind nor from the side. For this, the results are a little bit confusing, perhaps due to the difficulty to perform shoulder charge from a specific position, or that the sample size is not big enough, or my testing for this hasn't been consistent. So for this, I will add a little bit of subjective opinion, so take the following with a pinch of salt. The result shows that higher physical contact can increase the chances of winning a shoulder charge from a suboptimal position. Conversely, higher physical contact can increase the likelihood of getting a foul from a suboptimal shoulder charge, though the increase in chance in these two scenarios seems to be quite small. Subjective opinion aside, even if you don't count the test results, one thing for certain is that higher physical contact will allow a player to get into a side-on shoulder-to-shoulder position easier, thus increasing the chances of winning a shoulder charge. So to recap, shoulder charge from the side will almost always be successful. Shoulder charge from directly behind will almost always be a foul. Physical contact has little to no influence on these two positions. Shoulder charge from suboptimal positions is influenced by physical contact stat. In conclusion, physical contact has a big influence on the game since the version 4 update, and I personally quite like the change. Sure, it's not perfect, and there can be improvements, but I find that it brings more balance to the game, and the stronger and more physical players are more usable now. That doesn't mean physical contact is the meta, or weaker players are useless in this update, but you just have to be more careful and adapt to it. I hope you have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. These videos take a long time to research, test and edit, so please consider supporting the channel by joining my membership, where you'll get early access and exclusive videos, along with other great perks. Most importantly, it will support the channel a lot. I would like to take this chance to thank the people who's already joined my membership, especially Serge, who has kindly joined the Superstar tier, so thank you very much. But you know what else can support the channel? Subscribing and clicking the like button. Those things are free, so make sure you do that. See you in the next one.